Skincare Simplified with Inara, co founder of Rivona Naturals.
Thank you so much, Inara, for joining me on this episode of Karishma Connect. It's a pleasure to have you. I'm so happy to hear your story unfold on this podcast. Thank you once again for your time.
Thank you for having me on this show. I'm quite excited to just get this conversation going.
Lovely. Well, the first thing I do in this conversation is ask the person, tell me your journey so far, because how did you start? What brings you to where you are today? What's so special about it? Because I believe nobody would say it better than you. So please go ahead.
Sure. Okay. So, I am someone that, I've been dealing with skin issues since I was around 16. So that's when like my eczema started flaring up and I started noticing that I'm itching my body quite a bit, and that's something that my grandmother used to do a lot, and we used to always like scold her like stop doing this. And so then when I started doing it, my parents also noticed. They were like, what's going on? I will take you to a dermat. And that's when they told me I have eczema. And but I was never someone who liked taking medicines quite a bit. So their entire like diagnosis for me was, you need to keep your skin hydrated, you need to moisturize, and these are the medicines you can have whenever you get a flare up. But I hate like intake into my body if like it's not necessary. So it's kind of like the thing, where even if you have your periods and even if you're in pain, you want to like get through it, like it doesn't matter. So that was like that's the kind of mindset I was with. So whenever I used to have flare-ups, I didn't really care. And so for the longest time I didn't do the thing what they asked me to do. And but then when I went to Canada for my studies, because the season and climate over there is much more cold, it got worse. And my best friend was really into skincare, so I started asking her, look, give me like your tips, because you're always moisturized, always applying lotion, like tell me what's the best thing and I'll go forward. So I started researching around that, and um, got into learning a lot more on skincare because of my needs instead of wants. So like no matter how much, people used to tell me, okay, like, oh, you're getting dark, or or like this area of your body is like darker than the other areas. I used to be like, I don't really care. But then this came to be that it was affecting my everyday life, so I was like, okay, no, I need to get into this, I need to start researching. And that's when I started like slowly building up again, because I lived that lifestyle of I'm gonna look into things very thoroughly before using them. It was a very simple routine. So it used to be like I'll just apply a basic moisturizer, basic lotion, sunscreen, and get going. And then over time, I started like adding other things, like adding a serum or as such. So I studied in Canada, and my skincare journey at least began over there. And over time, I graduated. I worked there for 2 years. And my father, like after 2 years of working there, he messaged me around that same time saying that, there's something interesting over here. If you'd like to come and work on it, I am thinking that maybe we can do like a skincare brand or something around that, like get into the personal care industry. And so that really excited me, and I was already looking for a change in Canada. So I was like, you know what, maybe this is something that I could leave my independence and come back and work on, because it would be something I would build from the ground up. And because there, being myself, at least, and knowing a lot of the people around me, the market was just like putting in a lot of different products over time, and it was just getting quite confusing. And whenever I came back to India, the skincare like ranges that were available to us were mostly foreign brands. They weren't like Indian built brands. So it was like an opportunity where, what, the problems that I've faced and what I've learned in Canada through, because that market is much more advanced than our skincare industry. All the brands that I've seen there, everything that I've learned, maybe I can come back and see how I can implement it here. So that's when, like, after studying, after working there for 2 years, I came back and I started working on Rivona. um, the idea was that it was a brand that was acquired, and we rebranded it. So it was a natural based skincare brand. and it was there. It's in the market for the past 4 years, and it was doing good. But we weren't catching up to the new brands that were coming into the market and hitting like the Gen Z millennial audience because of the packaging that we had. The product quality was great, but like in terms of the visual appeal, it really needed a change, and maybe like a streamlining in the range that is there. And that's the project that I end up working on. When I came back, I was like, okay, no, we need this change. Like that's where I stepped in. I was like, if you want, and I want to work here, I need it to be something that is accessible to all, not just a particular age category, and something where it needs to be gender neutral. It can't just be that we're just focusing on like women and skincare, because I know that basic hygiene is something that men value, and very simple skincare. So the idea around Rivona, in its rebranding, came out to be, we're going to be vibrant, we're going to keep it simple, and be gender neutral and accessible to all age types, and all skin types. And that's how the rebrand happened, and that's where we are now.
My next stream of thought that I want to explore with you is, of course, what you do, which is skincare. Tell me, what are some of the practical skincare sensibilities that brands today need to address?
I believe that a lot of brands tend to hop onto trends very quickly. And that is something that, we need to take a little bit of a back step and just make sure that these things actually make sense. So, if I had to give an example, skincare in makeup. So a lot of new makeup industries want, like, makeup to be good for your skin, and that, that's how they're putting in a lot of different skincare aspects in it. But one of the things that certainly might get misused by consumers is SPF makeup. What's happening there is, even if it says it's SPF 15, SPF 30, the actual efficiency of it is not comparable to another proper sunscreen that is of SPF 15 or 30. So, to explain to the consumer how to use it or the benefits of it is the standard practice I wish brands could use a little bit more, because a consumer will then be like, okay, if this foundation has SPF 15, I won't use a sunscreen, I'll just use the foundation itself. But in his head or in her head, it's oh, I'm getting the UVA, UVB protection of SPF 15, but you're actually not. You need to, like, put a sunscreen and then add it on top, because with the dilution of the SPF factor in that makeup, it's not going to give you as much efficiency as you expect it to. So that is one example, that, if you're making certain products and you're hopping onto trends which are good, like, the SPF and skincare and makeup is a good, stream to go into. Just make sure the consumers are knowledgeable about what is actually needed, like, for their skin, instead of just, okay, just keep using this. So I think that's one skin sensibility. The other thing is, there's this whole idea of 7 to 10 step skincare routine, but the thing is that they make it so long only because they are adding your general hygiene as a part of it. Like, washing your face is general hygiene, don't count that as step one, and then be like, okay, yeah, now you need to add a toner, then you need to add a serum, then you, like, it's too much that's going on. And everyone's just going to get confused if you keep pushing that idea out. So and across, I think, the podcast that we run, we also got our cosmetologists on, and the things that we put out with our brand is the same scenario, that one, understand your skin type. Always go to a dermatologist and understand your skin type, and then decide what actually is necessary in terms of the steps. Using a body wash, using a lotion, and using a face wash is hygiene. You need to do that. Then you add your steps. Then your step one would be I moisturized, and your step two would be I put a sunscreen. Just pushing this idea of 7 to 10 step skincare routine, and then making more and more people averse to using it because of the idea that you need to do so much is a little how do you say not as advantageous to brands itself, because you're making a consumer think they need to do so much to take care of their skin when they do not. Like, keep it simple, keep it as easy, differentiate between what is hygiene, what is necessary, and then what is a want, and apply products accordingly. I think all of this comes from societal insecurities more than anything. It is what people around us tell us, it is what has been pushed down by brands, or who play on our fears, or on women's insecurities, or men's these days, because that's also a growing market. Then and that's when, like, kids start looking into it, because now phones are accessible to everyone. Whatever a 25-year-old is doing, because you aspirationally look to them, you also want to do that and look like that. But you don't need to. I mean, that's why there's a reason that there's a glow up, right? That glow up happens because you hit puberty, you go through changes yourself, and you learn things. You can't just get into it before that happens, and just lose out on your childhood. So let's not do that.
Very true. Tell me what's so interesting about the consumers today, because there's this whole side that we discussed, but there's also something, because there used to be a time when people used to have their standard creams and standard set of products and today we are in a time where people are finding out more, they're open to more information, etc. As an entrepreneur, and that to a young entrepreneur, what do you think is exciting about the consumers today?
I think the best part about the consumers today is that they question and challenge brands. So they are keeping them accountable to what you are providing, and that's why they're so willing to, like, see what's new and accept what's new in the market. So as soon as, like, you are launching something that is actually beneficial, efficient, and you are bringing in a new ingredient or a new product line, they will research, they will go see what marketing you're doing, they will go see, how it's actually leading to real people changes, or what are the benefits, what is science telling you about this. We have so much information accessible to us, that consumers are very open to go and learn new things, instead of just, because some celebrity told this, let me buy it. I think that shift is really important in today's market, considering that, India, at least as a market, is very dependent on high celebrities advertising certain products. And I think that shift is a little bit happening now, that we see that, people are realizing, okay, look, just because one celebrity told you that this cream will make you go 10 shades lighter, that doesn't mean it's actually going to happen in reality. You'll go pick it up, because the celebrity is saying, and obviously there is some standing to it. You will go pick up the product, you will try it, but then you'll eventually let it go if it doesn't work out for you, because that idea of an aspiration is something that I think is slowly going down, and people are accepting their natural bodies and just enhancing their natural abilities a little bit more. So I think that is very exciting for a consumer mindset to us, that people are, like, getting accepting of who they are and what they have, instead of, always looking towards looking like someone else. So that is something that, is very exciting to us as consumers. One, that they're able to research, and two, that they're getting to start accepting themselves as they are. That shift in the Gen Z and millennial mindset is really good.
You rebuilt a brand from scratch. What did you learn from that experience about rebranding, about picking up the reins and again making sure that you're hitting profit marks? What was your experience through that?
Um, the first issues or problems that we saw when, like, I had to rebrand the brand was aligning designs and what we would like the packaging to be to what's available in India. There's something where you can either import products, from China, which does give you, like, really good quality packaging. But we really wanted to stick to the idea of make in India, and hone in on the idea that this is from India completely. The raw materials to the quality to the packaging, we are all for building the economy here. And that's when we had faced challenges because the manufacturing industry in terms of packaging is not as advanced as what China is or any other places. So the first issue was understanding how we can align what our design is to what the vendors have in market right now and how they can, adapt to that. So we had one idea. The line that you see of Rivona right now is maybe about 80% to what we had designed it to be. So it's in terms of colors, in terms of like the tiny elements, or in terms of the bottle shape and sizes. It is not true to the first preliminary design because we had to work around what is available and how we can, achieve that. So that was our um, first thing. The products have come out great. I think, we have a really good vibrant line for what we envisioned it to be, but it was not 100% of what we first planned it to be. So I think that was one of the challenges in the India market, and building up a brand from scratch, and uh, just figuring out the balance between the design and the creativity that we want versus what is available in market and how we can get that together. So that was one of the challenges when rebranding. Another challenge in rebranding is what I spoke about before as well. I think the managerial styles of how, to lead a team here, how to even talk to vendors and such, because if you are not able to speak in their language, they're not going to like respect you or trust you, especially if you're young. It's not going to work out. So you need to be stern. You can't be sweet. You need to like know what is in the market. You have to have all your research done, and be able. But that's where like my dad, my team, who've had, a lot of industry experience, were very helpful over there when building this brand, to understand that okay, this is how you speak to them, and you need to know like these are the different type of terms, these are the different type of like, disadvantages, advantages you're gonna have. So that was a good thing over here, and a learning for the managerial way of work. In terms of profitability, I think there is this notion that, as soon as you start a brand, you're going to be profitable. But because there is so much competition in this industry, skincare is a very, very growing, rapid industry after the boom that it's seen in India, that we have to keep in mind that for the first 2 to 3 years, just like don't think about profits, like think about growing, think about brand awareness, like, pushing your brand out and making sure it is known to people, and then start reaping your rewards. Like as soon as you start doing it, make your processes more efficient, make sure that whatever you're slowly growing as, you're fixing it and then moving forward, and then keep that long term goal in mind, that over time you're going to make sure that you're going to realize where the costs are higher, where it's lower, where we can tweak in packaging or make it less or make it more, and then think about it. So don't have a short term like goal in mind in terms of profit. That is something that if a brand is doing, I give credits to them in the skincare industry, considering the competition that's there. So yeah, long term goal in mind, or like profitability, think about it later. First think about reaching a brand awareness and making sure that your brand is being known to people, and the way you market it is very important. So you need to show to the audience why your brand is different, why your sunscreen is better than another sunscreen, and why they should be buying you. When I go to say that our quality of products is great, I rely on my customers' reviews and such to justify that. But to market it to a consumer is a very different space, because you need to compete to 100 different brands. So you need to make sure that your brand's vision is coming across more than just talking about the product. So for me, that's the space that a lot of our like, time and energy goes into, to make sure that whatever advertisements we put out, or whatever posts we put out on social media, they are aligned with our brand vision about self-care simplified and being natural, instead of just another product being pitched to a consumer. Because I think even the consumers are tired of it. I think they also are saturated with the amount of ads that they are getting and the different kind of products that are being put out to them. So you need to have a clear goal in mind about what your vision is, and and portray it properly to the audience and make that emotional relatable connect to your consumer instead of just pitching another product, because that's not going to work as well.
You touched a very important point in between, which is making sure that you're heard is how I presume, but you can add clarity to it. Making
Hmm.
sure that your voice is heard as a young entrepreneur, because you're sitting in some of those boardrooms and you're the youngest in the room, and
Yeah.
people have several eyeballs. How have you navigated that?
I think one of the things that I try to do is be as knowledgeable as possible. So before I'm stepping into a meeting with a lot of older people to me, and actually more like, especially with the manufacturing industry, just a lot of men, just make sure that you are very knowledgeable and very strong to the point of what you want and what you need. So you need to have all the wisdom before you go in, because they're going to grill you more so, especially if you're young. And so you just need to make sure that you're prepared. One, always be prepared, research, be prepared, get as much knowledge that you can from the people around you who are in this industry or know it. And then, like, step into the meeting and tell them exactly what you require. They don't like a lot of, like, going around circles and things like that, and they might try to go around in circles with you too if they want to figure out if they can pull a little bit more from you and give you higher prices and such. But no, just keep your stance, know what is in the market, know what the standards are, and then continue. So I think that's a really, really key point, for me, at least in this space, that I need to be the most knowledgeable person in there. Otherwise, I'm going to be grilled to nothing. So, yeah.
What's different about Rivona? Tell me, why should a consumer consider Rivona above all the other products in the market? And as a follow up to that, also, which is one of your best sellers that any consumer entering fresh into the Rivona lineup should explore?
Okay. So, there's a, how do I put this? There's a trend in the market, or there's something called skin streaming, which talks about you need to have products that are efficient and true to what's working to you, and they're multi-purpose. And so when Rivona started, our idea was exactly that. Before I learned the name skin streaming, for me it was self-care simplified. That means we want to make products that are multifunctional, keeping in consumer in mind, to make it simple and easy for them to use, and make their lives easier. So I can explain that in the products that we have made. Our best seller is our bright pink cream. This one is a lightly tinted moisturizer that leaves you a foundation finish on your skin. So for the people who are like going on an everyday basis to work or to college, and they just kind of want even skin tone, they don't want to put on heavy makeup or even any makeup, because it usually does show up on your skin and you don't want it to be that way. This is the product that we made, where we ensured that it's a very light tinted moisturizer, that is your everyday makeup look, basically, or everyday makeup base. Then you just apply some lipstick and head out. And that it has good ingredients in it, such as mulberry extract, alpha arbutin, niacinamide, that while it stays on your skin, it's also improving your skin over time. So we made it multi-purpose in that manner, where one, it's a tinted moisturizer, so it's hydrating your skin, it's giving you that foundation finish, and that it's improving your skin texture and quality at the same time as you use it every day. So that was our multi-purpose element with the pink cream. The other areas that we look into for Revona is, now, if we take sunscreen, most of the competitors in the market sell a sunscreen at 50 grams. And if you are going to be a brand that tells people you need to use sunscreen every day, which is a need, you have to use sunscreen every day, why are you giving so little to your audiences? So that, for me, that was the main thing, that if we're going to make a sunscreen, we need to give them more. We Let's not think so much around our own profitability. Let's think about how we're giving more to the consumer at what the need is. So yeah, we made a double the size sunscreen, a 100-gram sunscreen, and we made it a mineral sunscreen instead of a chemical one, because mineral sunscreens are acceptable to acne prone and sensitive skin types. So even if maybe we are at a loss of texture because ours is creamy instead of the trend that's right now, which is that glass skin gel based thing, we kept our consumer in first thought that we want to provide you more, and we want to provide you something that is going to actually suit your skin, and you will continue using it every day. So when you ask what's different with Rivona, it's the fact that at every level of our business, we are thinking about the consumer's simplicity more than anything, about making sure that even the packaging is as direct as possible. Like our sunscreen is yellow, our vitamin C is orange, our hydration hyaluronic acid line is blue. You don't have to think twice about it. This is, you go, you see it on a shelf or you see it online, you know what it is, and you can pick it up. So we're thinking about simplicity and ease of use at every step, and that's what you get with Ravona.
And then what's next on your plate?
What's next? We are actually looking into a different market, for us, where we are releasing two things that we are very excited about. One that is, so the thing is that there's a horde of serums in the market. Like, everything is being broken down to a lot, where there's mandelic, lactic, glycolic, just HAs, BHAs, there's too much going on. And with, as someone, as I mentioned, who's so averse to like using too many things on her skin and like making sure simplicity is at core of our thing, we are soon going to be releasing a really really cool product, which is a game changer in the sense that it is something that helps your skin heal over time, the way your body innately heals. So we're very excited about that product to come out, because it's kind of going to be something where you don't need these 11 serums to target different problems. You're just going to need this one thing, to get going, and something you can just throw in your purse, your pocket, and just always use and refresh your skin. So that is something that we're looking and keeping in mind, self-care simplified, going into. And another thing is we're looking into a very very different segment to your general beauty and skincare line, which is always like pitched towards females and as a everyday basis. It is a different area of field altogether, but still personal cosmetics, which we're hoping that is going to gain us a new audience entirely, a new target line entirely. So yeah, that's what we're looking towards, again also keeping simplicity in mind, but yeah, I think it's going to be a little bit different to what we are normally doing. So yeah, that's what we're doing. So currently we are available in India. We have recently exported our products to the Philippines as well as the Democratic Republic of Congo in Africa. We hope to grow in the African market as well, slowly. And through our partners or people that we know, we are going to different countries to place our products so that we can find distributors and grow globally. Currently, the most accessible online way of reaching us is only in India. There is one company that we are affiliated with, I believe it's called Distacart, which does ship out to other countries. The only problem is the shipping rates are a little bit high because it's shipping out from India. We soon should be available on Amazon.com, so we can start to become a global online brand as well.
That's lovely. My last question to you, Inara, is you've dealt with eczema. It's not easy to accept it and to live with it. Tell me, how have you come to terms? And for fellow people, fellow listeners who probably go through it, what can they keep in mind?
Okay, so eczema is something that you need to like constantly notice around your body, what's wrong, what's not. If there's any change in food or if there's any change in environment, it can trigger. For different people, it's different types. Some people have it like throughout. Some people have it in phases. Personally, I have flare ups of eczema, so my skin will be normal throughout the year or throughout a 3 months, but then like after 3 months just randomly I'll like start itching and getting red everywhere. I'm actually going through it right now, which is not fun because you start getting insecure about your body a little bit because you're itching, you can't control it, and then your skin becomes dark and it becomes red around those areas, and it's not the best. But what I have come to realize, and what I hope that people who also have eczema can learn with, is one, definitely yes, keep your skin as hydrated as possible. Drink your waters and apply lotion as much as you can constantly. But the other thing is that I have just accepted it as a part of my life now, that this is going to happen. It also quite often happens when I am stressed and overthinking. So I have found ways to sort of calm my mind, and then like hopefully it reacts to my body, and like I also reduce the thing that happens, the physical reaction that happens due to stress. So just different ways. I really love swimming, and that helps me calm down. So that's something that I do. And just breathing exercises, because for me it triggers quite a bit at night. So because I start thinking at night, and that's just what I do. So a lot of it is mental now for me instead of anything, because it is something that keeps happening. I cannot control it, so I might as well give into it and just figure out ways around it of how to deal. So yeah, that's how I'm dealing with it, and I hope others gain some motivation out of it or any information.
On that note, thank you so much for such a beautiful conversation, Inara. It's been lovely getting to know you, and I'm sure listeners will enjoy this as well. Looking forward to sharing it. Thank you.
Knock, knock. Are you still here? Well, I'm super happy that you are. Thank you so much for watching and tuning in. Please do like, share, and subscribe to Karishma Connect across platforms. And I look forward to bringing you many more such amazing stories from around the world. If you've got one, please do get in touch. Lots of love.